Hello BookTube, welcome back to my 2025 library tour. In this episode, the middle leg of my manga collection. This bookcase here, which is mostly populated. This video and the next two are going to involve a little bit of moving of my camera setup because the books go all the way down to the bottommost shelf of the bookcase. So let's get started. So the first shelf so initially how I wanted this shelf or this bookcase to work is a series on each shelf. But that didn't quite work out because there's a bit of an overage and I've never quite figured out what to do with that. But let's get on with the first series, which is Magi the Labyrinth of Magic by Shinobu Otaka. This is a series inspired by the 1001 Nights. Aladdin is a young wizard who travels the world looking for friends and adventure. He finds both with a young man named Alibaba Saluja, who is much more than he seems, and Margiana, a young woman who has spent most of her life in slavery, but thanks to Aladdin and Alibaba, she has been freed. They travel the world seeking to frustrate the ambitions of Al-Thaman, a sorceress organization determined to destroy the world. This series is a lot of fun. This was one of the first series that I wanted to collect when I got back into manga. It was a series that I wanted to check out for a very long time before then, and was one of the series that was quite difficult to collect because at some point I think it went out of print or something, and several of the volumes were quite difficult to pick up. But I eventually successfully collected the whole series, and last year read the whole series and loved it. And I'm looking forward to rereading the series again in probably June or July. So this is Volume 1 of Magi the Labyrinth of Magic. Volume 2. Volume 3. Volume 4. Volume 5. Volume 6. Volume 7. Volume 8. Volume 9. Volume 10. Volume 11. Volume 12. Volume 13. Volume 14. Volume 15. Volume 16. Volume 17. Volume 18. Volume 19. Volume 20. Volume 21. Which is an ex-library copy and one that I would like to eventually replace. Volume 22. Volume 23, Volume 24, Volume 25, Volume 26, Volume 27, Volume 28, Volume 29, Volume 30, Volume 31, Volume 32, Volume 33, Volume 34, Volume 35, Volume 36, and Volume 37, the final volume. I also have 6 volumes of Shinobu Otaka's more recent series, Orient, which is inspired by the Sengoku period of Japan. In the Sengoku period, a race of demons attacked Japan and conquered it, and took on the guise of benevolent gods, with the samurai being the only ones who opposed them being outcasts. A young trainee miner named Musashi wishes to join the samurai alongside his childhood friend Sojiro, who is from a samurai family. And things progress from there. I haven't had as much success with this, getting into the series as I would like. I'm going to try it again sometime this year, and hopefully third or fourth time will be the charm. So this is Volume 1. Volume 2. Volume 3. Volume 4. Volume 5. Volume 6. Orient finished its run last year, and so the final volumes are currently coming out in the US. Although I think it might have already come out. I haven't really kept up. And Volume 1 of Mao by Rumiko Takahashi. This is Takahashi's latest series. She is most famous for Inuyasha. This is the story of a young woman named Nanoka, who finds herself in the Taisho period, where she meets an immortal young man named Mao. Both of them have been cursed by a demon cat named Byoki, and they're trying to figure out where they can find this demon cat. I read this volume yesterday and really liked it. I'm looking forward to picking up more volumes of Mao. Okay. Moving on to the second shelf. This shelf mostly contains Black Clover by Yuki Tabata. Black Clover is a fantasy series about a young man named Asta, who, in a world in which everybody has magic, Asta doesn't. However, this does not stop him from aspiring to be the Wizard King, the most powerful wizard in the Clover Kingdom's military. However, Asta's foster brother and best friend and rival, Yuno, also aspires to be the Wizard King. Both foster brothers, Asta and Yuno, join the Magic Knights, Asta joining the Black Bulls, a rather outcast squadron, and the more prestigious Golden Dawn. And both defend the Clover Kingdom exceptionally well. This series is great. I love it. I recently picked it up about a year or two ago, and last year spent much of the year just binge buying this series and loving it. This is phenomenal. So, Volume 1. Volume 2. Volume 3. Volume 4. Volume 5. Volume 6. Volume 7. Volume 8. Volume 9. Volume 10. Volume 11. Volume 12. Volume 13. Volume 14. Volume 15. Volume 16. Volume 17. Volume 18. Volume 19. Volume 20. Volume 21. Volume 22. Volume 23. Volume 24. Volume 25. Volume 26. Volume 27. Volume 28. Volume 29. Volume 30. Volume 31. Volume 32. Volume 33. Volume 34. Volume 35. And the most recent volume, Volume 36, which came out early last month in January. I'm not entirely sure when Volume 37 will come out. As far as I know, it has not yet released in Japan, so that means it's still well over probably a year out from an English translation, which is a bummer because this volume had me, it was magical. I loved this volume. It was so great. So I think what I will do, since it will probably be a year, I think I will just reread the whole series before Volume 37 comes out, or in that month. So, the next series on this shelf is Dan to Dan by Yukinobu Tatsu. So, Dan to Dan is a series set in a more contemporary Japan. It's about two teenagers, Momo and Ken, who goes by the nickname Okuran. Momo believes in the supernatural. Ken believes in aliens. They don't believe in the other. So Momo does not believe in aliens. Ken Okuran does not believe in the supernatural. So they make a bet. Momo goes to a place reputedly visited by aliens. Okuran goes to a place reputedly haunted. And they discover that, in actual fact, both the supernatural and aliens very much exist in this world. And this encounter empowers both Momo and Okuran. The aliens, called the Serpoans, accidentally unlock Momo's latent psychic abilities, and Okuran gets possessed by an evil ghost named Turbo Granny, who, though she is mostly exorcised, for a good chunk of the series, Okuran still possesses her powers of super speed. This series is wild and crazy, and I love it. It's a wild ride, and the artwork is fantastic. So, this is Volume 1. Volume 2. Volume 3. Volume 4. Volume 5. Volume 6. Volume 7. Volume 8. Volume 9. And Volume 10. Which is the most recent that I have. It came out in late December. Volume 11 released, I think, last week. And I'm waiting for it to be shipped from Book People. And I'm really looking forward to it. Because Volume 10 ended on quite the cliffhanger. So, see here, I think I'm going to stand to do this middle shelf before I sit down to do the 4th and 5th shelves. So the next shelf is mostly composed of My Hero Academia by Kohei Horikoshi. My Hero Academia is a superhero-inspired series about a young man named Izuku Midoriya, who, in a world in which 80% of humanity has a superpower called a quirk, he does not. He's one of the 20% who are quirkless. However, an act of bravery on Izuku's part inspires the greatest hero in Japan, All Might, to take Izuku on as an apprentice. And All Might grants Izuku his quirk, One for All, which gives him a variety of superpowers. This allows Izuku to join the most prestigious Academy for Aspiring Superheroes, UA. and join a class alongside his former childhood friend and more recently bully Katsuki Bakugo. And together they and their classmates learn what it means to be a hero while the hero society built up by All Might steadily crumbles with a new generation of villains seeking to crumble the world that All Might built. This series is amazing. Yes, absolutely amazing. So this is volume 1. Volume 2 with Izuku and Bakugo on the cover. Volume 3. Volume 4. Volume 5. Volume 6. Volume 7. Volume 8. Volume 9. Volume 10. Volume 11. Volume 12. Volume 13. Volume 14. Volume 15. Volume 16. Volume 17. Volume 18. Volume 19. Volume 20. Volume 21. Volume 22. Volume 23. Volume 24. Volume 25. Volume 26. Volume 27. Volume 28. Volume 29. Volume 30. Volume 31. Volume 32. Volume 33. Volume 34. Volume 35. Volume 36. Volume 37. This one is a heartbreaker. Volume 38. Volume 39. Volume 40 just recently came out earlier this month, and much like Dandadan Volume 11, it is currently hanging out at Book People, waiting to be shipped to me. Hopefully I will get it either this weekend or early next week, and I will read it then. I'm really looking forward to it because it is the final arc, and some great battles are taking place. And so My Hero Academia finished its run last year, and the final volumes are getting its English release this year. So, yeah. So the next series on this shelf are the 6 volumes of Demons of the Shadow Realm by Hiromu Arakawa. This is Arakawa's current series. It's the story of 2 twins, Yuru and Asa, who were born in a remote village seemingly cut off from modern Japan. The twins were born at a specific point, which means that they have the potential to develop superpowers. Yuru was allowed to roam freely, while Asa was imprisoned. However, one day, the village is attacked by a group of mercenaries, seemingly led by Asa. Yuru manages or is given 2 demons called Left and Right, who had protected the village, and he flees the village along with a man who serves as a go-between between the village and modern-day Japan. And Yuru seeks to figure out what exactly is going on, who is this woman who looks like Asa, who can be trusted, and what happened to our parents. This series is phenomenal, just really good. So that was volume 1, with Yuru on the cover. Volume 2 with Asa as the center cover model, alongside 2 of her friends. Volume 3 with Gabby on the cover. Volume 4 has Jin. Volume 5 has Yuru again, with Left and Right behind him. And Volume 6 has Asuma and his demons behind him. Now, this is really good. So this is the current volume I have. Volume 7 should come out in March, because I have it pre-ordered with Book People. Okay. That concludes current series and some older series up there. So now we get to the final 2 shelves, and I'm going to have to move this down some. So let's see if this will work. Yep, I'm going to have to do it like this. Ignore what's in the plastic totes. Okay, so the final 2 shelves are a completed series. First up is Demon Slayer by Koyoharu Gotoge. This is volume 1. Demon Slayer is a series set in the Taisho period of Japan. It's about 2 siblings, Tanjiro and Nezuko Kamado. One day while Tanjiro is away selling charcoal, a demon named Muzan attacks the Kamado family, leaving Nezuko the sole survivor. However, she has been infected with Muzan's blood, which transforms her into a demon. When Tanjiro returns, Nezuko initially attempts to attack him. However, Tanjiro eventually talks her down. But while this is going on, a Hashira, an upper-ranked member of the Demon Slayer Corps, arrives to put down this newly born demon. And Tanjiro talks him down, and Tanjiro's steadfastness and bravery inspires the Ginyu to recommend Tanjiro join the Demon Slayer Corps, which he does, with the intent of protecting his sister as well as eventually defeating Muzan. This series is phenomenal. I love it. I read it when I first collected it, and then last year I reread it in October, and I think I'm going to make it an October tradition that I read Demon Slayer. It's just that good. So, Volume 1. Volume 2. Volume 3. Volume 4. Volume 5. Volume 6. Volume 7. Volume 8. Volume 9. Volume 10. Volume 11. Volume 12. Volume 13. Volume 14. Volume 15. Volume 16. Volume 17. Volume 18. Volume 19. Volume 20. Volume 21. Volume 22. And the final volume, 23. So, the next series on here is Full Metal Alchemist by Hiromu Arakawa. This is her first series and still her most famous. It's the story of two brothers, Edward and Alphonse Alaric, who are prodigy alchemists. One day they attempt human transmutation, a forbidden alchemical operation with the intent of resurrecting their deceased mother. The transmutation fails miserably, and the brothers are grievously wounded in the rebound. Edward loses a leg, Alphonse loses his body. To save Alphonse's life, Edward sacrifices an arm to bind Alphonse's soul to a suit of armor. After a year recovering from prosthetic surgery, there's a fantasy sort of prosthesis called Automail. And Edward becomes a state alchemist in the country of Amestris under the moniker Full Metal Alchemist. Edward and Alphonse travel Amestris looking for information on the Philosopher's Stone, an alchemical artifact reputed to be able to bypass the law of equivalent exchange, with the intent of returning themselves to their original bodies. However, the brothers discover the awful truth about the Philosopher's Stone and uncover a conspiracy that runs to the very foundations of Amestris. A conspiracy that sees both brothers and many of their allies as important human sacrifices for the promised day. This series is amazing. I've read it several times now, most recently this past month, and I love it every time I read it. It is just so good. So Fullmetal Alchemist was one of the first series that I wanted to collect, Volume 2, when I decided to get back into manga again. And unfortunately, a lot of these volumes are former library copies, which I would eventually like to replace. Although I do want these trade paperback Volume 3 editions rather than either an omnibus or a more prestige hardcover. Volume 4. Volume 5. Volume 6, which was actually a volume I had when I first had my small manga collection many years ago. Volume 7. Volume 8. Volume 9. Volume 10. Volume 11. Volume 12. Volume 13. Volume 14. Volume 15. Volume 16. Volume 17. Volume 18. Volume 19. Volume 20. Volume 21. Volume 22. Volume 23. Volume 24. Hopefully I was doing those on the right side. Volume 25. Volume 26. And the final volume, Volume 27. It is a fantastic series. So the next, the last series on this bookcase is an oldie. It came out in the early and mid 90s. And that is Yu Yu Hakusho by Yoshihiro Togashi. So this is the story of a young man named Yusuke Urameshi, who is a juvenile delinquent. While trying to save a young boy's life from being run over by a car, Yusuke is killed. However, it wasn't Yusuke's time. So the underworld is giving him a chance to earn his way back to the world of the living. Once he does this, he becomes a spirit detective. forced to investigate supernatural crimes in the living world. Although that job doesn't quite stick with him all that long. He's too much of a fighter for that. So Yusuke is joined by his frenemy, Kurabara, and two yokai, Korama and Hui. And this series is a lot of fun. And I have the whole series. So, Volume 1. Volume 2. Volume 3. Volume 4. Volume 5. But I really enjoy how many of the Kurabara's friends were former enemies. I mean, Yusuke's. Volume 6. It's like the camaraderie between them is just amazing. Volume 7. Volume 8. Volume 9. Volume 10. Volume 11. Volume 12. Volume 13. Volume 14. Volume 15. Volume 16. Volume 17. Volume 18. Oop. And let me resettle volumes 14, 15, 16, and 17 so that I can show you the final volume, volume 19. So yeah. Ooh. So that concludes this bookcase. So tomorrow I will be moving over to these bookcases here, although the one I'll start with is off camera. So anyway, BookTube, look forward to that. And that concludes leg 3 of the Manga Week section of my 2025 library tour. Until I see you tomorrow, thank you, have a great afternoon, and stay safe.